The last time Motorola made a proper flagship smartphone, it was 2016, and I don't need to tell you that the world was a very different place back then. Ever since, Motorola has been focusing on its reliable mid-range smartphones and occasionally spicing things up with weird stuff like its One series, but now it's back with a $1,000 device called the Motorola Edge Plus, all in hopes of proving that it can make a flagship just as good as anyone else. Before we go any further though, just a quick note. We shot most of the footage for this video months ago, before the COVID-19 outbreak hit pandemic proportions. We're all currently safe and healthy at home, and I hope you are too. The Edge Plus packs basically everything you'd expect from a premium smartphone in 2020. There's a Snapdragon 865 inside with 12 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM, 256 gigs of storage, support for millimeter wave and sub-6 5G, support for fast charging with 15-watt fast chargers. The list goes on, but by Motorola's own admission, the real star of the show here is the Endless Edge display. It's a 6.7-inch 10-bit OLED screen that runs at full HD at 90 Hertz, but the edges of that screen cascade a full 90 degrees down the side of the phone. Now, the screen itself is pretty good looking. They're great colors and really nice viewing angles, but if you've ever seen any of my reviews, you know that I do not get along with this kind of display. My hand always touches the side of the screen and taps something it's not supposed to, and it drives me up a wall. Motorola says it's agonized over what it calls grip suppression to make sure my problems aren't problems anymore, but I honestly didn't get enough time with the phone to get a feel for that myself. As it turns out, that Edge stuff really isn't just there for looks. It'll light up when you get notifications and when you're charging the phone, and you can use it to perform gestures to quickly open your notification shade or view what's in your app drawer. Basically, it takes the gestures you're used to from your home screen and maps them to a little pill that lives on the side of the screen. You can even map virtual shoulder buttons to the edges of that screen while you're playing a game, but to me at least, the most important feature of these edges is that you can turn them off entirely if you don't want to deal with them. Beyond that, Motorola also paid particular attention to audio. By teaming up with a company called Waves, it was able to specifically tune the output of its stereo speakers to sound not just loud, but actually really quite good. Now, I didn't get a great sense of this most of the time in Chicago because I was surrounded by phone nerds who were all trying to get access to the same 5 phones, but what I did hear was pretty promising. Naturally, a phone like this that gives a damn about audio quality also has a headphone jack, but since I didn't have headphones with me, I can't actually tell you how well it stacks up to devices with built-in DACs, like basically every high-end phone LG has made for the last 4 years. As far as cameras go, Motorola is kind of swinging for the fences this time. The Edge Plus's main camera is a 108 megapixel sensor made by Samsung with an f1.8 aperture, and by default, it squeezes 108 megapixels of data into 27 megapixel stills. The handful of shots that I took with the phone while in Chicago did actually look really good on this really big, punchy screen, but we'll have to wait until we get one in for testing to see how it actually stacks up to the competition. There's also an 8 megapixel telephoto camera, which unlike the one in the OnePlus 8 Pro, actually optically zooms, and a 16 megapixel wide angle camera that can capture 117 degrees of whatever's in front of you. That's cool. The photos that I took using the ultra-wide were great, but I was actually a little more impressed by the macro mode for that wide-angle camera. Check out the detail on this serial port connector cable that was just sitting around. I do not know why it was there, but I love the way this photo turned out. If video is more your thing, you can shoot at resolutions as high as 6K with what Motorola calls industry-leading video stabilization, but we'll have to see about that. On paper, the Edge Plus has the chops to compete with some of the best devices out there, and after some hands-on time, I was left feeling cautiously optimistic. Now, are you ready to be disappointed? In the US, the Edge Plus will be a Verizon exclusive when it launches on May 14th. This is the point in the review where I have to mention that Verizon is Engadget's parent company, but they have no control over what we write or say, so with that in mind, this deal kinda sucks. I get that Verizon and Motorola have been close partner for years, but this decision ultimately means that some of the people who would have been most eager to give Motorola's new flagship phone a chance just won't get to use it. There's a little cause for hope though. After we left Chicago, Motorola confirmed there is another Edge phone coming. It's just called the Edge, and it uses the exact same screen, just with a Snapdragon 765 5G chipset inside and a slightly different camera configuration around the back. It's going on sale in Europe first for 599 euros, or about $650, so it might be the next logical step for someone who really has come to appreciate Motorola's reliable mid-range phones and wants to step things up a bit. Since Motorola wouldn't let anyone touch the phone or even know that it existed until very recently, we'll just have to wait and see how that thing actually turned out. In any case, Motorola seems to have put together a pretty comprehensive flagship package. From its immersive screen to its quality audio to its handful of flexible cameras, the Moto Edge Plus has a little something for everyone. Now, personally, I was a Motorola diehard back in the days when Google owned it and the Moto X was the phone to have. And because of that, I'm really pleased to see Motorola doing flagships again. I know they can make good devices. I have to wonder if the timing is going to be a problem though. We've already reviewed a handful of premium Android smartphones this year, and of them, the OnePlus 8 Pro in particular seems like it could take some of the wind out of Motorola's sails. One of the people in charge of Motorola's flagship line told me very candidly that he wishes he could have gotten this thing out the door faster, presumably because it would have made more of a splash. That's just how it goes these days, I guess. In any case, I'm still really looking forward to putting the Motorola Edge Plus through its paces. So if you have any things you want me to focus on or any feedback for our videos as we kind of go forward, please leave a comment, let me know at v8engadget.com. Until then, please stay safe, stay healthy, keep looking out for each other, and thanks for watching.